The All-Star break here for Major League Baseball and Fantasy Baseball season. So now with the first half in the books here, a few pitches I'll look to add though during the break until games resume here Friday the 14th. The first pitcher, Matt Manning of the Detroit Tigers. So Matt Manning, he's been good so far after coming off the injured list here for this Tiger team. And they combined it for a no-hitter a few days ago versus the Toronto Blue Jays. And so far, Manning on the year, 29 innings, 3-1 record, 20 Ks, 3.72 ERA, a 1.03 whip, and a quality start. So right now available in 94% of fantasy leagues. Here's Manning, and he's one of the top ads, no doubt about it, at the pitching position this week here. So Manning, he was out for a while with a broken foot, but now he's come back for this Tiger team. And for the most part, he's been pitching good baseball in the last three outings since the return. June 27th at Texas, 5 2/3 in that one. 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks. July 2nd at the Rockies, 5 innings, got the win. 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 Ks. And then July 8th, like I mentioned, Blue Jays here with the no-hitter combined by this Detroit team. 6 2/3, got the win in that one. 3 walks, 5 Ks, and the quality starts. So far, Manning, he's been pretty decent for this Tiger team. He's way under-owned, I believe, in fantasy leagues as well. And he's a former top prospect as well, so now he's getting this All-Star break to heal up a little bit if he wasn't 100% coming off the foot injury. And he's going pretty deep into games, 5-6 innings, which nowadays is a good standard. And the walks have only been the issue for him. 7 walks in the 3 outings since he returned. So right now, after coming off a great game, getting extra rest with the All-Star break, and available in 94% of fantasy leagues. I like Manning as an ad this week. The next pitcher, Jack Flaherty of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Flaherty, it's been an up-and-down season here for him. But the main thing is health. The last couple years have been a healthy issue for Flaherty with the arm, the elbow, and whatever else he may have had. So on the year, 92 2/3, 6-5 record, 89 Ks, a 4.27 ERA, 1.56 whip, and 6 quality starts. But the last few weeks here for Flaherty, he's turned it around a little bit. 12 2/3, 2-0 record, 9 Ks, no ERA, a 1.34 whip, and 2 quality starts. So right now, Flaherty's still out there in 61% of fantasy leagues. We know he was a former ace of this Cardinals staff a few seasons ago, but obviously injuries did him in. But the last 2 outings, he's bounced back, and he's definitely pitched good baseball. June 19th at the Nats, 6 1/3, got the win. 10 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 5 Ks. July 1st, versus the Yankees, 6 innings, got the win. 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. And July 6th at the Marlins, who are a pretty exciting team and surprising team from the first half in that wild card right now. 6 2/3, got the win. 9 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a quality starts. I know the Cardinals, second worst team in the National League, but Flaherty's been pitching good baseball. There's a possibility maybe they ship him off to a contender. We'll see if that happens come the August 1st trade deadline, even though I think it's doubtful, but you never know nowadays. And with the Cardinals obviously out of the race, 11 games out of the wild card. But anyway, while he's pitching good baseball, giving quality innings, and not giving up runs right now in the last 2 outings, Flaherty is an ad this week. The next pitcher, JP France of the Houston Astros. I've mentioned France a whole lot this season here, and he's still under-owned, I believe, is France. Available right now in 63% of fantasy leagues. On the season, 66 1/3, 4-3 record, 48 Ks, a 3.26 ERA, 1.21 whip, and 7 quality starts. So France, he's a big innings eater for this Astro team. I know he's not striking out a lot of guys, but at this point, if you're going deep into games, getting a chance to win each and every opportunity pretty much once you pitch out there, that's what France doing. And the ERA's been low. The last 2 weeks for him, 13 innings, 2-0 record, 6 Ks, a 2.08 ERA, a 1 whip, and 2 quality starts. So France all year, I've been on the bandwagon. We know he's got a spot in that rotation pretty much the rest of the way unless he struggles. Lance McCullers out for the year. Luis Garcia out for the year. Jose Urquidy, we'll see when he comes back, possibly after break. But anyway, France, he's not a guy that they're going to pull out of this rotation. June 29th, the Cardinals, 7 innings, got the win. 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks, a quality start. And July 5th versus the Rockies, 6 innings in that one, got the win, 6 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality starts. I know those teams, obviously, not great teams, but he went out there, got the job done as France. And like I said, as a back-end pitcher for your rotation in fantasy, you could have worse options, and I've obviously seen it in my leagues where there's no pitching on the wire. So right now, with France out there in 63% of fantasy leagues, he's a solid ad once again this week. The next pitcher, Domingo German of the New York Yankees. So after throwing that perfect game last week here, German, he didn't have a great outing in his next one versus Baltimore. That's the way it usually goes, but right now German's still out there, surprisingly, in 46% of fantasy leagues. On the season for German, 91 2/3, 0-0 record, 92 strikeouts, a 4.32 ERA, a 1.05 whip, and 6 quality starts on the season. So German, he's going out there the last 2 out of 3 outings, and he's pitched good baseball for the Yankees and for fantasy owners. So right now I think German's going to be a mainstay the rest of the way in this rotation. Luis Severino hasn't looked good. We know Garrett Cole's the ace, and that 5th spot's just been a revolving door between Brito and Vasquez for the most part, and Schmidt for this Yankee team. So right now German, pretty much the 2nd or 3rd starter for this team. So the last few outings for him, June 28th, the perfect game at Oakland, 9 Ks in that game. Then July 3rd versus Baltimore, they hit him pretty decent, 4 1/3, 9 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks in that one. And then July 9th versus the Cubs, he went out there and pitched a good game, but the bullpen blew it for him. 6 innings in that game for German, no decision, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 walks, 9 Ks of quality starts. I know the last 2 out of 3 outings versus pretty weak hitting teams in the Cubs and the A's. He's taking great advantage of that. A decent pitcher at this point, especially at the AllStar break. We've seen a lot of injuries in the first half of the season, and we've seen a lot of poor pitching performances. So right now, while German has been solid the last couple weeks here, especially with the perfect game under his belt, he's a pitcher that should be owned in more fantasy leagues. This week, the next pitcher, Civale of the Cleveland Guardians. So Civale, since he's been back off the injury list, he's been one of the better pitchers for this Cleveland Guardian team. On the season, 3-2 record, 52 2/3, 44 Ks, 2.56 ERA, a 1.06 whip, and 4 quality starts. So Civale beat out Logan Allen in this rotation. They sent him down, even though I think he could come back sooner than later. And also, they designated for assignment a few weeks ago as well, Zach Plesac. So Civale's going out there, and he's pitching great baseball as well. And surprisingly, he's still out there in 54% of fantasy leagues. So some of these pitchers, like I said, it's surprising that they were under-owned, and they're going out there and they're getting quality starts and pitching good baseball. June 25th versus the Brewers, 6 innings, no decision, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. July 2nd at the Cubs, 6 innings in that one, no decision again, 3 hits, a run, a walk in that one, 2 Ks, a quality start. And July 7th versus the Royals, 7 innings, got the win, 2 hits, no runs, 9 Ks, a quality start. So we know he plays in a weak division over there as Civale, but right now he's lined up as the starter coming out of the break, July 14th at the Rangers, which obviously is a very tough matchup where they're one of the best teams in the league. So right now, Civale pitching good baseball, pitches in a pretty weak hitting division as well in the AL Central. And the only thing for him is obviously this Guardian team, not a great hitting team, and one of the worst power hitting teams in the league as well. So right now, while Civale is pitching good and still out there, surprisingly, like I said, in 53% of leagues, this is a time for owners to go out there and get him, because if he has a good start versus the Rangers coming out of the break here, he's not going to be a pitcher available in many leagues after that one. The next pitcher, Dean Kremer of the Baltimore Orioles. So Dean Kremer, he's been pretty solid, I believe, this season. I know the ERA is almost a 5, but the win record is good. Strikeouts, pretty decent on the year, and he's on a solid Baltimore team, one of the better teams in all baseball. On the year, 98 innings, 9-4 record, 92 Ks, 4.78 ERA, a 1.37 whip, and 8 quality starts. Last month of the season here, 29 innings, 3-1 record, 33 Ks, a 4.5 ERA, 1.18 whip, and 3 quality starts. So one bad outing inflated the numbers here for Dean Kremer. But besides that, he's been a very solid pitcher for the last few months, and it's very surprising he's out there as well in 70% of fantasy leagues, because the last 5 out of 6 outings he's been great. Is Kremer. June 24th versus the Mariners, 7 innings in that one, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 5 Ks, a quality start. June 30th versus the Twins, he got rocked in that one, 3 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. And July 5th at the Yankees, he pitched a gem, 7 innings, got the win, 4 hits, a run, a walk, 10 Ks, a quality start. So Kremer, one of his best games of the season in the last outing at the New York Yankees. And the Yankees, we know their hitting isn't the same without Aaron Judge, and just overall, their hitting's been poor this season. They fired their hitting coach as well going into the break here. So right now, Dean Kremer pitching pretty solid baseball. Like I said, he's got 3 quality starts in the last 5 outings, and he's on a good winning team with this Baltimore Orioles team. So right now, while he's still out there in 70% of fantasy leagues. He's a good add this week. The next pitcher, Wade Miley of the Milwaukee Brewers. So Wade Miley, he's been a solid fifth starter in this league here for many years now, and he's a good back end of the rotation pitcher for fantasy baseball as well on the season. 67 2/3, 6-2 record, 46 strikeouts, a 3.19 ERA, a 1.10 WHIP, and 6 quality starts on the season. So this Milwaukee Brewer team, very surprising in the first half of the season. They're right there in the division and wild card contention. Either way, I think they can get one of those spots possibly when the season's all said and done, with a lot of injuries and a banged-up pitching staff, obviously without Woodruff, who's been out pretty much the whole first half. But Wade Miley, Hauser, guys like that have been pitching good baseball. And what Miley, he's been an underrated pitcher, I believe, over the last few years. And right now, he's available as well as Miley in 61% of leagues. So the last few games here for him, June 28th at the Mets, 4 innings he only went. 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. July 4th versus the Cubs, not a good outing. 5 innings in that one. 9 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Versus a Red team that's been playing great baseball over the last month of the season. 23-8 in the last 30 ball games. He went in that one 6 innings, July 9th. Got the win. 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks, a quality start. So Wade Miley, it's not going to be great every outing, but I still think he's a solid pitcher that fantasy owners should own in at least 12-team leagues or deeper. So right now, well, he's on a pretty decent Milwaukee Brewer team and pitching good baseball for the most part here, Wade Miley. He's a pitcher I look to add this week out there in 61% of leagues. The next pitcher is Ben Lively of the Cincinnati Reds. So like I mentioned, this Red team, they've been on a tear over the last month of the season. Got back, and they were in first place right now in that NL Central. So Lively just came off the injury list, and he looked pretty decent in his return on the season. 51 1/3, 4-5 record, 50 Ks, 3.89 ERA, 1.22 WHIP on the season, and a quality start. So right now, he's not going that crazy deep into games. This season was Ben Lively, but he's pretty much been a player. He's been out of the league over the last few seasons here. So to come back and be decent for a Cincinnati Red team where you know he's going to get offense. The only downside, obviously, is he pitches in a bandbox where that ball really flies here in the summer months. But Lively's been going out there for the most part and pitching good. And in his return outing at the Brewers, who have been a solid team this year. 5 2/3, tough luck loser, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 Ks. So Lively, he'll be a decent pitcher. ERA is going to be around 4. He's going to go at least 5-6 innings per game, I believe. And like I said, the run support's going to be there most nights. I know in Milwaukee, for whatever reason, they couldn't figure out Wade Miley and the rest of the bullpen in that game, getting shut out in that ball game. But right now, it's good to see Lively come off the injured list, and it looked like he didn't really miss a beat. So right now, while he's out there in tons of leagues at 85%, this is the time for owners to go out there and get him. The next guy is Bryan Woo, the Seattle Mariners. I mentioned Woo over the last few weeks here, and his K rate is great. I know he don't go that deep into ball games, but he's still a pitcher that's pitching good baseball, and he's got a good spot right now in the Seattle Mariners rotation, and I don't think they're going to pull him. And if they do, I don't think it's a smart decision. Anyway, on the year, 34 2/3, 1-1 record, 43 Ks at 3.63 ERA, a 1.07 WHIP, and 2 quality starts in the season. So like I said, the only downside for Woo, he really hasn't gone crazy deep into ball games, even though over the last 3-4 outings now, he's looked pretty decent in Woo, and a guy that should be owned in more than 42% of fantasy leagues. So right now, while he's out there, owners should definitely get him on the AllStar break now. June 27th versus the Nats, 5 innings, no decision, 6 hits, a run, a walk, 7 Ks. July 3rd at the Giants, 6 innings, no decision again, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a quality start. And July 8th at the Astros, 6 innings, once again, no decision, 3 hits, a run, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. So Woo's starting to go deeper into ball games. His strikeouts have been solid this season, over 1 per inning, about 1.1, 1.2 per inning. And right now, he's going to have a good spot over there in that rotation, I believe, with the Seattle Mariners team. And this All-Star break here, it's going to help a lot of pitchers, I believe. Reset, get things going. But Bryan Woo, obviously a young pitcher and one of their top prospects coming up this season through the system. So right now, while he's still out there in 58% of fantasy leagues, and that is good upside, he's definitely a pitcher I look to add this week. And the final pitcher I look to add is Christopher Sanchez, Philadelphia Phillies. So the Phillies that had a pretty decent first half of the season. Right now, tied for the last spot in the wild cards on the season here for Sanchez. Full sample size, 25 in the third. 0-2 record, 22 Ks, a 2.84 ERA, 1.03 whip, and 2 quality starts. So Sanchez, he's going out there and he's giving Philly some quality innings, and he's not really giving up runs, but the run support really hasn't been there for Sanchez. And right now, available 93% of fantasy leagues. So this Philly team, they've been playing good baseball, especially over the last month of the season. And right now, tied for last wild card in the National League. So the last few outings here for Sanchez have been solid. June 30th versus the Nats, 6 innings, got the loss. 7 hits, a run, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. And then July 6th at Tampa Bay, 6 innings, no decision. 4 hits, a run, 2 Ks, and that one a quality start. So right now, Sanchez is playing good baseball. I know the Phillies haven't had run support for him over the last few outings, but if he sticks in this rotation, I think he's a solid back end of the rotation piece for this Philly team and for fantasy owners as well. So right now, I know he's in a tough division in the NL East. Miami's playing great. Braves in another world right now, winning 28 out of 30 games to close out the first half of the season. But Christopher Sanchez, he's going out there, he's giving quality innings, and he's keeping the runs down. So right now, I give him an add this week. So that's a few pitchers I look to add here entering the AllStar break for the fantasy baseball season.